Going back to the piano can feel daunting if you've been away from it for a few months, a year, or even longer. Today, I've got 5 tips that will help you successfully ease back into playing, regardless of your level. And I've got some great resources that will help you if you're working alone or studying with a teacher. I've had times in my life where I've hardly practiced, like when I had my first baby, and then I had another baby 17 months later. We have seasons in our lives, and there's going to be times where we make big strides in our playing and other times where we hardly touch the keys. I really hope that you won't give up on your dreams of improving at the piano because you haven't been able to practice as much as you'd like. Okay, let's get into the tips. My first tip is to write down your piano goals. Start with some long-term goals, so you may have some specific pieces that you want to learn. Write the titles down. Or you may want to improve at sight reading so that you can learn new pieces quickly. Write that goal down. Then start on your short-term goals, like finding a piano teacher, or practicing 20 to 30 minutes 4 days a week, or sight reading 2 lines of new music every day. My next tip is to create a realistic and consistent practice schedule. Put your practice time in your phone calendar as a repeating event, or you could write it in your planner. Commit to your practice time and try not to schedule anything in place of your piano time. It'll be easier to commit to your practice schedule if you put your piano goals in a place where you see them frequently. Also, it's a great idea to start with shorter practice sessions and gradually increase the time as your stamina returns. My next tip is to include technique. When we return to the piano after a break, it takes time to rebuild strength and coordination. Make sure to include technique in every practice session. But first, remember to warm up with some stretches so that you can prevent injury. I found a great video on YouTube from a physical therapist that teaches some quick warm-up exercises that pianists can do to prevent injury. So I'll link that in the description. After you've stretched, start with some scales and arpeggios that feel fairly easy to you and focus on slow and medium tempi. You could even go back to some old technique books and gradually progress through the exercises. The most important thing to remember is to not push yourself to the point of pain. It's okay if you feel some tiredness in your hands and fingers, but we don't want to ever feel pain. After you've been practicing for a while and you feel like your fingers are back in shape, I recommend buying a technique series that will help you progress gradually, like Fingerpower, HANON, CZERNY, or Keith Snell's Scale Skills and Etudes books. I want to emphasize the importance of including technique in all of your practice sessions, even after you feel like you've worked back to where you left off. Think of technique as stretching before a run. It warms up your muscles so that when you do start to practice your pieces, you're playing with control and precision. My next tip is to choose repertoire wisely. Of course, the best way to get excited about practicing again is to choose some pieces that you're passionate about. But be careful. To avoid frustration, start with some pieces that you can learn fairly quickly and play with confidence. You could go back to an old piece or two that you've already mastered, but it may be discouraging for you because you'll have higher expectations. Just remember to have patience with yourself. You'll be amazed at how quickly you can revive a piece if you practice consistently. I want to quickly tell you about some resources that will help you to find new, inspiring music. One of the main reasons that people stop playing is they don't have a lot of music at home and they don't know where to go to find new music they're excited about. I'll link all of these resources in the description below. MusicNotes.com has piano arrangements of just about any popular song you can think of for every level. I love the site sheetmusicplus.com because it shows you images of some of the pages inside the books, and you can try playing before you buy. You can also browse piano solos, easy piano, and etudes and exercises. You can find piano method books here and browse the top sellers. You can filter your search by level. You can download and print free classical piano sheet music on IMSLP.org, and there's decent editions on this site. If you want to focus on classical pieces, then you could buy some books from a collection that have pieces from all the different time periods. A collection that I really like is the Festival Collection by Helen Marlais. I hope I'm saying her name right. And I also love the Celebration series from the Royal Conservatory. And both of these series start with an elementary level and gradually work up to advanced repertoire. If you're an intermediate pianist, I really love this collection by Alfred, An Introduction to His Piano Works. This is the Chopin version, but you can find these books for many of the famous composers like Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, and Debussy. If you're open to practicing with an app, I really love Piano Marvel and Tomplay. Both include sheet music for thousands of pieces, from popular to classical. Piano Marvel will teach you how to play the piano and sight read better. Tomplay doesn't teach you how to play the piano, but it's a really large sheet music library, and you can play along with professional recordings of orchestras, cellists, violinists, singers, etc. One thing I do to find new pieces is I listen to piano music on YouTube and Spotify, and then I keep a list of pieces that I love and that I'm excited to learn. My next tip is to enjoy the process. Our progress at the piano can feel slow at times, but remember that this is a lifetime endeavor. We all can improve at the piano regardless of what level we're at. Whatever you decide to practice, make sure you're enjoying your time at the piano. There's more music than you can learn in a lifetime. So my advice is to not waste your time with pieces you don't love. Let me know in the comments what your main struggle has been in being consistent with your practicing. If you can't seem to find the time to practice, make sure to watch this next video where I talk about how to make progress at the piano if you're really short on time.